everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Jazwares Call of Duty figures. I got Captain Alex Mason and Ghost from Amazon, and they finally arrived today. Really curious about this line. Jazwares makes two lines that I'm into. Well, they used to make the 6-inch Fortnite figures, and they do AEW wrestlers. Hoping to scale a little bit more with the wrestling figures, but we'll know soon enough. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Call of Duty, Captain Alex Mason with accessories from Call of Duty Warzone Launch Edition. Here he is in the package, extra hands, bunch of guns and weapons. On the back, here's the figure, some description of the accessories, and at the bottom, there's his barcode, if that helps. And then we have Ghost. His head strikes me as maybe a little small. Radio, different clips, weapons, Call of Duty, Ghost. The back, here he is, his accessories, and there's his barcode. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. We have extra hands, different guns, magazines, knife, radio. They're decked out with accessories. So this is Jazwares' attempt at Call of Duty figures. They're only starting with 2 figures, and they are some popular skins. Now McFarlane has made Call of Duty figures in the past, but they were a lot more sort of archaic, articulation, a lot more limited. Really curious how these do. It looks like they're selling very well. They seem very popular online. Jazwares makes some good figures. They're the 6-inch scale. In this video, we're going to take a look at each figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height and articulation, and we'll compare them with a bunch of other action figures from different various companies. So, let's go and start off with Alex Mason. We'll save Ghost, the best, for second. So this is Alex Mason from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. He's in his Alaskan skin. He comes with an M16 assault rifle, a pistol, 2 magazines, a knife, and then 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. But before we take a look at those, let's check him out. So, start with his face here. It looks pretty good. Hair kind of slicked back. He's got a beard, lined up nicely. Now, just something a little off about sort of the bottom of his chin and face area. I don't know, it just looks a little blocky, a little weird. I feel like maybe it's just sitting a little bit too low, like you can't see his neck or something. Really not bad, though. Shoulders, I don't know, they seem a little bit sort of blocky. I don't know, it just looks a little unnatural around here. As a whole, he looks good. All the different gear. You can see on its vest there. Looks fantastic. The paint's good. The sculpting's good. A lot of attention to detail, and they didn't just make it one color. Looks like we have double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, nice camo pants. He's going to be able to holster some of his weapons on his chest as well as on his side. So far, I'm pretty pleased with what I'm seeing. He can be used in your Call of Duty collection or just sort of a generic general soldier. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Not bad. I mean, keep in mind, this is like a $22 figure. It's nothing sort of amazing or fancy. I think they did a decent job. My biggest complaint when looking at this guy is sort of the overall frame of his torso area. Something about his shoulders and the way his arms hangs down. It just doesn't look natural. Looks very sort of toyetic. I don't know. A closer look at some of the detailing on his vest. You can see MK90 on those little bombs there. Really good attention to detail. I also wanted to point out the tattoo detailing on his arm. It's on his left arm. He has tattoos there. None on the right arm. Just, once again, nice attention to detail. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands, but not for his guns. This would hold his knife. And here he is with his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers for both his pistol and rifle. Now let's check out his M16 assault rifle. It comes with 2 magazines. Here it is with the magazine pushed inside. It's a typical assault rifle. I will point out it's not all pure black. A little bit of color variation here. I love the fact that it has a removable magazine. That's very cool. Also sort of simulates the game when you're reloading. It looks good. I like it. Here's Alex holding that rifle. He even has a little pouch on his vest that you can take. You could open it up and you can actually store his extra magazine inside of there. Very nice attention to detail. Now for his pistol. Not too much to say about it. It's a pretty basic entry weapon into the game. It looks just fine. And here he is, holding that pistol. Then, holstering that pistol. Now for his knife. Pretty basic melee weapon in the game. As you can see, it's got a pretty short blade. Handle's pretty basic. And now, holding his knife. Then, holstering his knife. So he can holster his knife, his pistol, and his extra magazine all at the same time. I appreciate that in an action figure. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now for his height. And I was really curious how tall these are going to be. Jazwares makes typically 6-inch scale stuff, but sometimes it's on the smaller end of 6-inch collecting, like their 4-inch stuff, or kind of the medium end, like their wrestling stuff. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at about 6.6, maybe 6.7 inches tall, which could translate to just under 17 centimeters. Pretty pleased with their height. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up, not much, down, a little bit there. Can't really tilt his head. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got a bicep cut below that. Looks like double jointed elbows, although I can't get the top part to go. They're actually fake double jointed elbows, as weird as that is. I heated up and tried to get that to budge, and there's just simply a peg that goes here in. So I don't know why they designed it this way. There's absolutely no reason for the cut on this top part here. It makes absolutely no sense, because all it does is this. The top part does not move at all. It's literally pegged right in there. I have no idea why they would design it this way. It literally looks like fake double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. In his torso, he's got a ball joint here, rotate around, forward and back. In his waist, another ball joint, rotate around, forward and back, although not too much between the two. Good range of motion. I'm getting a little more out of the torso than the waist. Legs, completely does the splits, ball joints. Rotation, not much in the hip, but he does have a thigh cut right below that. Legs go forward all the way, back not much. Double jointed knees. No boot cut there. His ankle, forward and back, tilt rock. So no traditional rotation here. I guess you'll get that with this thigh cut, and of course, to articulation. He also seems to have the littlest bit of a butterfly joint in his shoulder area. You can see it goes forward and back, but just the tiniest bit. And it literally does not make sense why they would design his arms this way. I get it being single jointed, but they really make it look double jointed. There's absolutely no point to have that extra piece there that just pegs into the top. I went ahead and dipped this guy into some hot water so I could show you what I mean. So you can see the single jointed elbow going about 90 degrees. It damn sure looks like it would be double jointed, but I pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually it just sort of popped out. It is literally just a peg that goes inside of there. Why they would even make that a separate piece is beyond me. They could have literally just had it onto there and then had your arm going up and down. No idea why they would make that a separate piece. It's a very weird design, and it's misleading at first glance. It sure makes you think it's double jointed, but it's not. Hence why it literally looks like a fake double jointed elbow. Now let's take a look at Ghost. Arguably the most popular Call of Duty skin out there. This is Ghost from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. He's in his Jawbone skin. He comes with a rifle with 2 removable magazines, a pistol, a radio, and then a total of 4 hands. He also has a cloth soft goods removable cloak. Before we look at those, let's take a look at him. So, looking at his face, he has the sort of painted skull type thing on top. He has this cloth soft goods cloak you can pull down. You can see he's got headphones, a little radio on there. He's got a big vest here with a lot of gear, so places you can stow stuff away. Looks like we have the same kind of single jointed elbow, double jointed knees, in sort of a military green, the majority of his outfit. He's got a rope here on the side. As a whole, he looks pretty good. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Face has some sort of weathering, dirty. He's been through some combat. And a closer look at its face and head sculpt. Like I said, I think it looks pretty good. Very recognizable. And even though this guy's built like the other one, his torso doesn't bother me like the other guy. I think it's because his vest, it kind of expands outward a little bit, all those pouches, and it covers up that weird gap between his arms and his torso area. Here's Jawbone, broken down as far as he can go. Now for his accessories. Starting off with his hands, he has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here he is, with his first pair of hands. His right hand is a fist, his left hand is a gripping hand. And then his next pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers to hold his guns. Now for his cloak. Made of cloth soft goods, done in like a really light brown, almost gray color. You can see the hood here. It's got that sort of British patch or logo that Ghost is known for. It all looks very good. Here's Ghost without his cloak on, then with the cloak attached. You can have the cloak with the hood up, and then you can also sort of pull the hood down. A lot of different display options, and once again, that's something I appreciate in an action figure. Now for his rifle, which I think is an M4, but I could be wrong about that. It has 2 removable magazines. Here's the rifle with the magazine inserted. Here's Ghost holding that rifle. He has a pouch on his vest where he can hold his extra magazine. Now for his pistol. Pretty sure it's the same pistol the other guy came with. This one's a little bit warped from the package. Not a big deal. Here's Ghost holding that pistol. And here, holstering that pistol onto his vest. Now for his radio. It's got the little antenna at the top, done in military green. You can see buttons there, little screen. And then here, holding that radio, which can also be stowed away on his vest alongside the pistol and magazine. Now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 6.4 inches tall, which can translate to just over 16 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, he can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down quite a bit more than the other guy. Can't really tilt his head. Shoulders, ball joint, goes out 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got butterfly joints that do a lot more than the other guy as well. Bicep cut. Single jointed elbow. His wrist can rotate and hinged as well. His torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back, just the tiniest bit there. You get a lot more out of the torso than his waist. Legs, complete as a splits, ball joints. The rotation is actually pretty good on the ball joint itself. Then he also has a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees, they go all the way back. Then his ankle, forward and back, barely at all. Rotate, tilt rock, and to articulation. Here's Ghost and Alex Mason in a broken down building. This is wartime. They just finished a big battle. But when you're playing online, just because you emerge from one battle victorious doesn't mean the game's over. Here come a bunch more opponents trying to take out the Ghost and Alex Mason duo. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Call of Duty figures. Here's this Jazwares version of the Ghost on the left, next to the original McFarlane version on the right. They're both very nice figures, although I'm going to have to say that Jazwares is an improvement, as the articulation is less clunky, a little bit better. But there are some things I think McFarlane did better on the paint and sculpt. Still, Jazwares definitely wins on this one. And here they are, next to a few more McFarlane Call of Duty figures. I got these figures to use as generic soldiers in my action figure world, and I was disappointed to find out they were 6-inch. McFarlane typically does 7-inch figures, and that's what I wanted at the time. But I'm happy that you can sort of mesh the Jazwares and McFarlane stuff together. At least they're pretty close scale-wise. And then here are all of my Call of Duty figures. 6 of them are by McFarlane Toys, and 2 are by Jazwares. I would expect Jazwares to pump out more Call of Duty figures, but I guess time will tell. Now let's check them out. Next to some of the Jazwares figures. Here are these Jazwares Call of Duty figures, next to some Jazwares Fortnite figures. Now, when I first found out Jazwares was doing Call of Duty figures, I was worried they were going to be as small as their Fortnite stuff. I love their Fortnite releases, but it's smaller than I like in my action figures. This is the size I would have liked the Fortnite figures to be, about 6.5 inches tall. And here they are, next to some Jazwares AEW All Elite Wrestling figures. They're scaled up pretty similar to the Call of Duty stuff, maybe a tiny bit taller. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know what lines you can mix them with. Since they're Jazwares Call of Duty figures, they're 6-inch scale, I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and work my way larger, and I'm going to include as many soldier-type figures as I can during these comparisons. Here they are, next to some SH Figure Arts and some Hasbro Marvel Legends, and now, next to some Mafex and Mattel DC figures. Here they are, next to a Mallet, and here they are, next to some Mezco 112 Collective figures and some Mattel Wrestling figures, then with some NECA and some DC Direct figures, and finally, next to some McFarlane Toys 7-inch scale and some DST Wartime and Select. So overall, these are some pretty nice figures. I would say I like them more than the McFarlane figures, but there are some things they do better and some things they do worse. So their articulation is definitely better. The McFarlane figures is very clunky, very tough to move, very sort of statuesque, like their old school stuff. But I'd say the sculpt and paint might be a little bit better than the McFarlane toys. They just seem a little bit more realistic. These ones look a little plasticky, a little more toyetic. Still, the accessories are better on these guys. The articulation is better. I like the cloth soft goods on Ghost here. If I were to rate these guys, I'd give Ghost a 7 and then Alex a 6. Looking forward to seeing if they do more Call of Duty figures. Call of Duty is definitely hot shit right now, and it would only make sense. When I looked at Amazon, it looks like these things are selling very well. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add it in the comments section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.